Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. Oh my god, I am on game 3. I'm experiencing the Kindred curse right now. It's like no matter what I do, I can't win. Then I finally get into my third game after a long ass queue and I'm top lane. Well, technically I got mid, but Yorick wanted to fight Malzahar. I don't really think that's a winning matchup, but you know, I get to fight Tryndamere now, which is, you know, that's poetic because the cinematic, so that's awesome. You know what else is awesome though? Fan art section. I cannot believe how much Kindred art there is. I have to do like 3 rows at maximum, sometimes 2. I had to make 4 rows. That's how much there is. And they're so high quality too. There's some animations drawing me as Lamb or as Wolf or with them. God damn it, it's so cool. Biggest smile on my face right now. You guys are absolutely incredible. It makes me slightly curious and a bit nervous about what's going to happen with Aurora, because I think that drawing I did is going to bite me in the ass. But thank you, fellas. You're all amazing and wonderful. Thank you. Man, I gotta go leash Rengar now, but that's fine. I don't think I'm going to be able to win against Tryndamere. He certainly won in the cinematic, I guess. I'll talk about that later in the video, because, well, I'm not excited to play Kindred because gameplay-wise, they're not one of my favorites for sure. They're definitely high up on the list of champions I love everything about besides gameplay. They are a really interesting character to talk about from a narrative point of view, from a design point of view, because they are one of the most unique characters ever added to League, and I love them for that. So as for Kindred's origin, not much is really known about where they first came from, but there is a myth of the pale man with dark hair, which we also know as the Gray Man. And from what the myth says, the Gray Man was a lonely Grim Reaper spirit of Runeterra who was so lonely that he split himself in 2 so that he'd always have a friend. And by splitting himself in 2, he created the 2 equal parts of Kindred. His pale skin was materialized into a being of rationale, which was the Lamb, and his dark hair materialized into a being of pure emotion, and that's Wolf. And so despite splitting himself in 2, he still maintained his status as a Grim Reaper spirit, or I guess they now have their status as a Grim Reaper spirit, though they are really cool in that the experience that different people have across Runeterra vary on which part of Kindred they believe in. I can go grab that mark because Rek'Sai's not here. Damn it! And that's because depending on which side of Kindred you meet in your afterlife, or I guess before you go to the afterlife, will decide how you get there. So for people who accept death, that they're like, yes, I am fine with dying, it's okay, I'm ready to move on to the afterlife, Lamb kills you swiftly and peacefully with 1 shot of her bow. But if you deny death and struggle to bring yourself back to the land of the living, then Wolf will meet you, hunt you down, and tear you limb from limb. And again, different cultures across Runeterra believe in different aspects of the Kindred. Some places believe in both sides, so it's just up to personal preference. But places like Demacia, they believe wholeheartedly in Lamb, so once they meet their end, they just accept it. Yep, I'm going to the afterlife, it's cool. But of course, places like Noxus, or in places like the Freljord, specifically with the Winter's Claw, they're gonna fight for their lives, so they believe, oh, exclusively in the Wolf. I can do this.
Shine once more.
It's all about patience and timing. And just like that, death lives another day. The only realm that can... Oh! The only realm that... Oh! Well, you know, Rek'Sai killed me, so technically Tryndamere hasn't won yet. I'm still being lore accurate right now. The only realm that Kindred can't touch is the Shadow Isles, and assumedly Mordekaiser's Death Realm, because their undeath is kind of a mockery of their cycle. Because they're stuck in limbo, they can't pass them on to the afterlife, though they believe eventually those spirits will be freed and they'll be able to succumb to their influence and go to the afterlife, choosing which way they want to go. Because of that, they're not really villains, you know, like a volcano or a flood or any kind of natural disaster isn't evil. It's kind of an awful thing to happen, and a lot of cultures view death as an awful thing, but they're not a villainous force. They're kind of just doing their job. You know, they're just a force of nature that can't really be stopped and can't be reasoned with. They're just doing what they were designed to do. And they can't be stopped because they are incredibly powerful. Because for those who don't know, spirits, the way they operate in Runeterra is they become more powerful the more people believe in them. So that's why Volibear's whole thing about him becoming weaker is because the old ways are being forgotten, he's not being believed in as much. Or Janna, she lost a huge chunk of her power after Shurima banned the worship of her, but Kindred is believed near worldwide, making them the undisputed most powerful Grim Reaper spirit in Runeterra. But that's important to know because, well, some champions I think have gotten worse with new lore over time. They kind of retcon some things, or some old aspects of them don't really add up. The stuff they added for Kindred, specifically with what they did with LOR, I think made them even cooler. And that's because they're not the only Grim Reaper spirit on Runeterra. They are interpreted in different ways in certain regions, like Spirit Blossom Kindred is Ionia's interpretation of Kindred, but Ionia also has their own version of a death spirit. They have the Wings in the Wave, or Targon has the Astral Fox, or there's the Soul Spinner, who I believe is in Noxus. And then, of course, you have the Mask Mother, who is believed to be the creator of all these spirit gods of death, including Kindred. So Kindred did not just manifest from nothing, or I guess the Mask Mother made the Gray Man, but regardless, the Mask Mother is theorized to be the one who creates all of these death spirits. And assumedly there is one for each region, if not death spirits for even minor cultures. But regardless of that, Kindred is the most powerful of all of them because they are believed worldwide, as opposed to something like the Astral Fox, who is believed only in small subsections of Targon. But that's important to know because, again, the spirits are only as powerful as the amount of people that believe in them. And so what happens when nobody believes in them anymore? And in Runeterra, we got the Fading Icon, who was the spirit god of death on the Blessed Isles. Come on, Tryndamere, this is lore accurate. Let's go. And I got my mark, baby. I got 1 mark in 10 minutes. Wait, I can win this. No, I have no mana. I am the best Kindred top player in the world. That's not a very high bar. I'm the only one. So, of course, having a spirit god of death in a place where everybody is undead means that nobody believes in him. And they kind of incorporate the idea of, if you guys have ever seen Coco, which it's, I'm pretty sure it's linked to actual Mexican culture and the Day of the Dead, but because that holiday is meant to remind everyone of those that had passed, because the people in the afterlife can experience a second death, meaning once people have forgotten who they are, they fade from existence and they just vanish from the world forever. The spirit gods of death operate in a similar manner, except instead of fading from existence, the Grim Reapers have a Grim Reaper. They have the Ether Fiend. Once nobody believes in them anymore, the Ether Fiend hunts them down, and it's believed that once all living beings in the world cease to exist, Lamb and Wolf will kill each other or attempt to kill each other, and whoever remains, the Ether Fiend will hunt them down. Like, that is metal as hell. That is so goddamn cool. Making Kindred just a universal presence on Runeterra is already pretty cool, but adding that layer of depth that they're only as powerful because they are so universally known and they have a potential fate, that there are beings of higher power than they are, I think makes them a lot more layered and significantly cooler. It's also because of that, I don't think Kindred is the most powerful being in League. I know we've had a bunch of tier lists and stuff, or Necrit made that big video about all the most powerful characters according to lore, and he ranked Kindred at number 1. I personally don't subscribe to that idea because Kindred is a Runeterran-based entity. They did not exist before Runeterra did, and therefore, Aurelion Sol, I feel like, oh my god, why is Bard here? That's not lore-friendly. That's not lore-friendly at all. So Aesol not only existed before Kindred did, long before as well, but also, do you really think Aesol believes he can die? That's important, because Kindred are only as powerful as those who believe in them, and I sincerely doubt Aesol ever believes he could possibly die, and therefore Kindred has no sway over him. I think if Aesol does eventually die, and of course he will die eventually, he's just gonna fade from existence. I think he's literally too egotistical to think that any spirit of death from a planet that he created has any power over him. Undoubtedly, Kindred is still very powerful, because everyone's gonna meet death eventually, but I just think there are other champions in League, like Aurelion Sol, like Zoe, who hold significantly more cosmic power. Tremor sense, baby, that mark is mine! See, I'm smart. I do brain things. 2 marks in 15 minutes, baby. That's like what? That's like how I should normally have as many in 5 minutes. We talked about their lore so much, I just realized like we can get into their design a bit. And I am very sad with the state of Kindred, mostly because the internet has ruined Lamb completely. People weirdly sexualize Lamb. It's like, it's fine if you want to have characters that you're attracted to, but damn it. I feel like it's so weird that the spirit god of death is the one that people are getting attracted to. Though they did give her really wide thighs for some reason. Even in the cinematic, they did even more so. It's very peculiar. I don't really understand why that was there. Though in actual League, they make Lamb a lot more hunched over, a bit more animalistic looking, though still being a bit humanoid. And I like that a bit better. But we'll get into the still here stuff in a bit. So I think the reason that Kindred works so well as a design, as two parts to an equal whole, is because there's so much yin and yang. They are designed to be together, but total opposites. Lamb is soft and smooth, with white fur, a ranged character, humanoid in appearance, calm and less violent, and driven by rationale, but feels very little, as opposed to Wolf, who is very spiky, ethereal, he's got black fur, he's melee range, very beastly and frenzied and prone to violence, and driven by emotion, but doesn't really know how to rationalize it. Give him a mark! Give him a mark, Caitlyn! Hell yeah, 3 marks. I think I've gotten more marks this game by playing Kindred top than I did when I played Kindred jungle. And of course, the piece de resistance is the fact that they wear each other's masks, symbolizing that, well, one, a very visual and obvious metaphor for that they are yin and yang. You have the black and the white and the black, but also that they're connected, they're together, they're part of the same whole being, and they can never be separated. And that helps as well because they're dynamic when they talk to each other. It's kind of like a sibling dynamic. They always do everything together. They have bickering sometimes. The Lamb is the rational one, and she likes to help calm Wolf down out of his frenzy. And she helps by telling stories to him, which is, I just think it's so endearing. They're just really charming to listen to. It's funny just hearing like these actual forces of nature just have normal conversation almost. Of course, the big problem with that is that design-wise, it doesn't carry over very well. Them being two of the same being, two halves of the equal whole, doesn't work very well when Wolf is a floating head. The unfortunate aspect about making Kindred into an actual character in the game is they decided that Kindred was going to be a marksman. And you can't really make a marksman what's historically known as a squishy ranged character and give them a giant hitbox. So unfortunately they had to make Wolf really small, and because of that he feels more like an accessory to Lamb than they're actually together. And it's not like that's how Wolf is supposed to be. We see in his splash art and in LOR, Wolf is supposed to be huge because that's how you match them. He's the ferocious one, he's the ferocity, while Lamb is the calm and collected one. And then in Still Here, they brought that tenfold, and they redesigned Wolf a lot for that. So instead of being this disembodied head, Wolf is this actual giant wolf. And only that, he still has this ethereal aspect to him that he phases in and out of existence. You can see when Tryndamere knocks him down, he just disappears into the night and then resurfaces, rematerializes, and charges at him again. I think that makes him significantly scarier. How do you make things immediately more scary? You make them bigger. And that works better for their differing dynamics because Lamb's supposed to be the one that's like, oh yes, Lamb, the nice, calm, mostly humanoid looking creature. Yes, she will kill me swiftly and painlessly and it'll be great. Whereas Wolf, you're supposed to be hiding from it, running from it, struggling against it, and it's supposed to be this giant creature that you're hunting from. Like, why would you be scared of this tiny little soccer ball sized head? It doesn't make any sense. In context though, Still Here's fight with Kindred and Tryndamere didn't really make a whole lot of sense because they're supposed to choose. Like, you're supposed to fight either the Lamb or the Wolf, and yet Tryndamere's fighting both. I can only assume it's because Tryndamere might be torn between letting himself die or struggling to fight on for his wife. Oops. But that's just a theory. I'm gonna get you, Bard. I'm gonna get you. You got a mark on your head, and I want that mark. I'm the Grim Reaper. You cannot escape death. Death is inevitable, and I'm coming for you. I'm gonna get you. Give me my mark. Hell yeah, let's go. 5 marks in 20 minutes, baby. And unfortunately, again, you can't have that whole aspect of having Wolf be this giant presence because they're supposed to be a marksman. You can't have this giant hitbox on a squishy character. And I have a solution for that, though a very radical one, and I'll talk about it in a bit, because now we get to go on to Kindred's gameplay, which is by far my least favorite part about them. I think Kindred's gameplay really misses the mark, so to speak. Please laugh. I will say there are some things I do really like about it. Like the marks, marking an opponent for death. Like, the opponent sees, oh my god, the Grim Reaper is hunting me. That's such a cool thematic. And having them get stronger the more marks they've stacked, showing that people are starting to believe in Kindred, that people are actually dying to them. They become stronger the more people believe in them. That's awesome! But there's a lot of things I really dislike about Kindred. Obviously, right off the bat, I hate playing marksman. I think you guys know that by this point, that I am not a fan of the long-range, squishy DPS auto-attacking playstyle. It's like automatically, like I'm doing okay now, but there's a lot of champions I would much rather play in the jungle than Kindred. Like I'm not playing jungle. And of course, one of the main things about them is their high-risk, high-reward playstyle. You are playing a character that is intentionally weak early. They are designed to be a scaling champion, and the game is pushing you, albeit sometimes even forcing you, to invade constantly while the enemy team knows exactly where you are invading. It's a very risky playstyle that if it falls through and you don't get those marks early, you fall behind tremendously. But if you are a good Kindred player, your team can help you out to get the marks, you scale like nobody's business. I wouldn't say that's a bad thing. I think thematically having high risk, high reward is still a good thing. It's just not what I like in a character. I think I'm just more preferential to champions like Smolder or Aurelion Sol or Nasus, where each individual stack doesn't mean as much. That like getting 300 stacks on Nasus is equivalent to getting like 6 or 7 stacks on Kindred or something. So having each individual mark means so much. Doesn't feel very satisfying to me. But again, my biggest criticism with Kindred as a character is that Wolf is just an accessory. There's a reason that whenever people talk about them, they always say she, because Lamb does pretty much everything. She does all the damage, she throws out the E, she does the hop, she activates the Undeath Realm. All Wolf does is he does his little tiny nibble when you do your W, which is mainly just to empower Lamb, and you throw Lamb out at the end of E. It just looks like Lamb is chucking him like a baseball. And yeah, I know that their dynamic is that Lamb is the calm and rational one, and she usually is directing Wolf where to go. But again, it just makes it feel like Wolf is not as important as Lamb, which they shouldn't feel. Oh no. Too bad I never die, you idiot. You face the Grim Reaper. No. And even then, I don't think Lamb encapsulates what her character is supposed to be. The whole difference is that Wolf is this giant creature that's going to mangle you and tear you to shreds slowly and painfully, whereas Lamb is going to take one swift arrow and you're gone. So to me, making Lamb a attack speed focused DPS character, that completely goes against what her core philosophy is. Like, wouldn't making her an AD caster make more sense? Like Varus even. Like I feel like Varus's kit feels a lot more appropriate for Lamb, charging the arrow, one shot. Obviously, that's not very healthy for the game to have actual one shots. There's a reason why people hate Zoe. But I'm just saying it feels very strange for Lamb to be advertised that way, for her gameplay to be kind of the complete opposite. And of course, the big thing that I never understood about Kindred is, why is the Grim Reaper's move an ability that keeps everyone alive? I guess, do they have control over that? It seems weird to me. It's like Singed, for this character all about toxins and poisons. For his ultimate move, he eats an apple. So how would I fix this? Well, I'm not a professional game designer, so you can take whatever I say with a grain of salt, like you should with everything I say. So if I had the creative reins of what I would have done with Kindred, I would have done something very radical I know a lot of people wouldn't like. I only played this game very, very briefly, but I'm sure when I mention the name Cho'Gall, a lot of people who tried Heroes of the Storm or still play Heroes of the Storm, you valiant troopers, will remember. So Cho'Gall is interesting because Cho'Gall is 2 characters in one. You are designed to be 2 people piloting the same champion. So one person handles movement and some attacks, while some person handles the rest of the stuff. It was a super innovative. It was a super innovative. God, I can't. Innovative. It was a super innovative design, having 2 people pilot the same character. So you technically only have 4 characters on the map at any given time, but this one guy is like an actual raid boss. And I'm thinking, for the spirit of death, that feels like that could be really fun. So my idea is that one person plays Lamb and one person plays Wolf, but they are always tethered together. They can't separate from each other. And they would work as a team to hunt down their prey. So you'd go more into the avenues of how they're supposed to be in lore. You could give Wolf this big hitbox body because now he's his own champion. You don't have to worry about hitting Wolf and therefore you're hitting Lamb. No, whichever one you hit, you hit. But Wolf, now being this big, bulky character, can go into the middle of the team and be the big, beefy bruiser he's kind of supposed to be. And now he's doing small but sustained damage, slowly ripping his opponents apart, Well, in the background, you have Lamb charging her bow, getting ready for that swift hit of burst damage. So you'd have that dynamic of Wolf being the target, being the one that people focus, and peeling for Lamb so that she can charge up her swift shot. To me, that feels more thematic, and having two characters be connected at the hip, I think, would be something unique for League, and not like Yuumi, where, you know, when Yuumi isn't doing well with her ADC, she can just abandon them and go on the bruiser. This is more like they actually have to work in tandem with each other because they're connected. The unfortunate side effect of that is that if you wanted to make Kindred a jungler still, then that means one of your lanes would be missing a character, and that wouldn't be very good. So you'd have that, or you'd have to force them to be bot laners, and then you'd probably have to remove Kindred running around the map hunting marks off jungle camps and champs. Though, maybe, would it be better if they just remove the jungle camp stuff and instead you're just hunting down champions? Like, what does Kindred care about hunting down random chicken number 5 when there's all these other champions, these sentient beings running around the map? I don't know. It is a wild idea that of course is never going to happen, but to me, I think it'd be kind of cool. I know Kindred is not one of the most popular characters in the game, so any Kindred mains that watch me or watch this video, let me know what you think. I'm curious if you think that's a fun idea, or like, if you could change Kindred, what would you do? Because I think Kindred is prime for a CG like Aurelion Sol. But that's just me. I am also very marksman biased. So like usually, now I'm just used to like Kha'Zix and Kennen where I didn't know what to say for like a good 20 minutes of a 40-minute game. But I have been talking about Kindred like non-stop for 30 minutes. The character's just really interesting, you know? Like Kindred's just an awesome character. I don't like how they play. I wish that they played differently than this because it's like one of those characters that I really, really want to play more. I just don't find them very fun. I think we still have time to mention her skins before Tryndamere inevitably backdoors. And they've got a lot of really awesome skins too. Shadow Flame, one of the only good Infernal skins, because this was back before they just decided to copy paste the same thematic onto 100 different characters. Spirit Blossom is one of the few skins I think tastefully changes a monster character into a human, though it is concerning that the Ionians imagine Kindred as a lolly. That always kind of weirded me out. Drat! Though the idea of the kid playing with her imaginary pet wolf is still endearing. I just wish the internet didn't do awful things with Spirit Blossom Kindred because they're disgusting. Lamb and Wolf, I think that's the newest one they got, the April Fool's skins. I think that's very cheesy and very silly, very fun. And of course, they redeemed Porcelain Kindred, which I didn't think they'd ever be able to do. They actually made Porcelain Kindred a really cool looking skin. You have to pay like $100 to get it, but you know. It's better than the original Porcelain Kindred. Not again! Ah ha ha, but don't you see? Death can never die. Straight up! Oh my god, Yorick. Alright, well, thank you for stopping by this week's Casual Champion Review, everyone. Next week, we'll be going over Aurora, not Kled. Kled will be next week, so new champion next week should be fun, alright? Thank you, stay safe, have a good one, and I'll see you the next time, okay? Goodbye, and